The year was 1975, bell-bottoms were cool, disco was king, and a young man named John Harris was finding his rhythm in the murky depths of San Francisco Bay. John wasn't a rock star, though some would later say he deserved the title. He was an underwater engineer and a damn good diver. He loved the feeling of peace beneath the waves, the quiet hum of his breathing apparatus, his only companion. John had a knack for the work. He understood the language of pressure and currents. He could read the subtle shifts in visibility that spoke volumes about the underwater environment. His hands, calloused and strong, were as comfortable manipulating tools in the murky depths as they were on dry land. San Francisco Bay was his office. The iconic Golden Gate Bridge, a majestic silhouette against the often foggy skyline, was a familiar sight. He'd worked on several projects around the bridge, inspecting pilings, checking foundations, the unseen but essential maintenance that kept the landmark standing tall. John loved the work, the quiet satisfaction of knowing he played a part in keeping the city connected. Little did he know that his expertise would soon be tested like never before. One routine inspection dive turned anything but routine. John was tasked with examining the concrete support structures deep below the bridge's northern tower. The currents were strong that day, visibility poor, but John was thorough, methodical. He went about his work with the steady focus of a man accustomed to the demanding environment. As he maneuvered through the murky water, his powerful underwater lamp piercing the gloom, something caught his eye. A hairline fracture, almost invisible to the untrained eye, snaked its way across the massive concrete piling. John's heart pounded against his ribs. This wasn't just another crack, this was serious. He knew the immense weight the piling bore, the constant stress it endured from tides, currents, and the bridge's own immense weight. A crack of this size in such a critical location could spell disaster. And with a major storm brewing off the Pacific, time was not on their side. News of the crack spread quickly through the ranks. The atmosphere at the harbor was electric with tension. The storm, a behemoth churning its way towards the coast, was already making its presence felt. The wind howled, whipping the sea into a frenzy. Waves crashed against the shore with a ferocity that sent chills down the spines of even the most seasoned sailors. Meteorologists predicted the storm to be one of the worst in years. The thought of those monstrous waves, amplified by the storm surge, slamming into an already compromised Golden Gate Bridge sent shivers down everyone's spines. The potential for catastrophic failure was very real, with unthinkable consequences. The bridge wasn't just a landmark, it was a lifeline for the entire Bay Area. Thousands relied on it daily, lives were at stake. A plan was needed, and fast. Engineers huddled over blueprints, their faces grim. The solution, a massive steel brace to stabilize the damaged piling, was straightforward enough. But installing it in the midst of a raging storm, at a depth of over 70 feet, with currents strong enough to toss a man around like a rag doll, that was a different story. It was a suicide mission, everyone knew it. But somebody had to do it. And that's when John Harris stepped forward. He didn't volunteer with a grand speech or a hero complex. He simply said, "I can do it." He knew the risks, understood the danger better than anyone. But he also knew the stakes. The lives that depended on the bridge, the families who relied on its connection. He couldn't stand idly by while disaster loomed. It was his job, his duty, and he was determined to see it done. Section 5. Into the abyss, battling the depths. The world shrank to the confines of his diving helmet as John descended. The storm raged above, churning the water into a maelstrom. Visibility was near zero. The current threatened to rip him from the guide rope, the only thing tethering him to the surface in safety. He fought his way down, inch by agonizing inch. The pressure built, a constant reminder of the immense weight of water above. His ears ached, his heart hammered against his ribs. But he pushed onward, driven by a quiet determination to get the job done. Section 6. A race against time, securing the bridge. Reaching the base of the damaged piling, John was met with the full force of the current. It slammed into him with bone-jarring force, threatening to tear him from his precarious perch. He clung to the rough concrete, his muscles screaming in protest, but John Harris wasn't a quitter. He fought back against the current, inching his way along the piling, dragging the heavy steel brace with him. Every movement was a monumental effort. every breath a victory against the relentless fury of the storm. Time blurred. Hours felt like days as he wrestled the massive brace into place. The storm raged above, an angry god determined to thwart his efforts. But John wouldn't be deterred. He tightened bolts, secured clamps, his movements precise and practiced even in the face of almost unimaginable pressure. Section 7. Triumph over turmoil. The storm subsides, and then, slowly, gradually, the storm began to subside. The wind, which had been howling like a banshee, softened to a moan. The waves, once towering giants, settled into gentler swells. Above, the clouds parted, revealing a sliver of blue sky. Exhausted but exhilarated, John surfaced to find the storm had passed. The Golden Gate Bridge, battered but unbroken, still stood tall against the receding storm clouds. He'd done it. He'd secured the bridge, bought it time, and in doing so saved countless lives. Section 8. Unsung Hero, Recognition and Humility. News of his actions spread quickly. John Harris, the quiet diver who'd faced down a storm and saved the Golden Gate Bridge, became a local hero. There were newspaper articles, TV interviews, even talk of a parade. But John, ever humble, shrugged off the accolades. He'd just been doing his job, he'd say, what any decent person would do. He never saw himself as a hero, just a working man doing what needed to be done. But to the people of San Francisco, he was a legend, a quiet symbol of courage, dedication, and the often unheralded heroism of ordinary people. Section 9. The Bridge That Stands Strong, a Legacy of Courage. The Golden Gate Bridge, a symbol of hope and resilience, stood as a testament to John's bravery. Every time a car drove across its span, every time a tourist gazed up at its majestic towers, they were unknowingly honoring the quiet courage of one man who risked his life to save it. John's story became a part of the bridge's lore, whispered among the engineers and construction workers who worked tirelessly to maintain its grandeur. A reminder that even the most iconic structures relied on the unseen efforts of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Section 10. Inspiring a generation. John's impact on future engineers. John's story resonated far beyond the shores of San Francisco Bay. It became a source of inspiration for aspiring engineers and divers, a testament to the power of courage and the importance of meticulous, often unseen work. Universities used his story in engineering classes, a real-life example of the impact their work could have. Young divers, their eyes wide with admiration, listened raptly to tales of his daring feat. John Harris, the reluctant hero, had become a legend. Section 11. The Importance of the Unseen, a Final Thought. We live in a world built on the backs of such unsung heroes. The men and women who work tirelessly behind the scenes, ensuring our bridges stand strong, our power grids hum, our water flows clean. They may not seek the spotlight, but their contributions are no less significant. John Harris's story is a powerful reminder that heroism comes in many forms. It's not always about grand gestures or superhuman feats. Sometimes it's about a quiet dedication to duty, a willingness to face danger head-on, and a deep-seated belief that even one person can make a difference. So the next time you cross a bridge, remember John Harris, the diver who dared to face the storm.